Thank you so much, Rory O'Brien. Sorry, Rory. Rory O'Shea had the O right. I'm so sorry. I knew you were a wonderful choice for that, and you certainly did, Peggy Crowd. And of course, we have missed her greatly and continue to miss her greatly. It is an honour to have Deirdre McKenna with us today to represent our founder, Jerry Kenny. He was a tremendous character, a tremendous man. I'm sure many of you knew him. And he was wonderful to us, and he was just our wonderful, esteemed leader right in those early days, and we all loved him to bits. So it's wonderful to have Deirdre here to represent him today. Thank you so much, Deirdre. And Alan Hunt and Jerry Kenny were true friends. And Alan Hunt is here to represent his father, Pat Hunt, our co-founder and also our very first director. So thank you, Pat. Hunt for all his work, and Alan representing him. As Rory said, we have had 3 generations of the Hunts with Alan, his wife Bernie, and their daughter Vanessa. Vanessa would be no stranger to you. She was played many roles over the years with Tip. And also my own family, the Taylors, my mother Dorothy Taylor, myself, my sister Gina, my auntie June Duffy Smith over there, and it's wonderful to have 3 generations. And also we've had lots of people that have had their children, 2 generations also share the stage. It's hard to mention all the names, I don't want to miss anybody. I would like to start off my thanks actually with the words of Pat Hunt. Pat Hunt actually put together a beautiful reminiscence of his time with the Toronto Irish Players, and I think it's only fitting that you hear Pat Hunt's words today about our beginnings. Before I start, Pat Hunt actually kindly also left this for us too. This is the cast of the original June 1975 production. These people came out of that meeting in March of 1975 to rehearse and work very hard at Jerry Crow's apartment building to mount the show Kathleen Ní Houliháin at Shannon Pavilion in June of 1975. And so I'm going to have those cast members stand for you. We have a few of them over here, so don't miss anybody, because it's a real honour to be sitting up here and standing up here and 38 years later to say this is where we've come. So it's wonderful. So, producer Jerry Kenny, director Pat Hunt, the old woman of the road Dorothy Taylor and June Duffy, Peter Gillan, Bill Pollock, rest in peace, and Jerry Crow. Patrick Gillan, Ed Lean, and my brother James Taylor, who couldn't be with us today. He's babysitting. Michael Gillan, DJ Kelleher, Jim Cooney, and Terry Frawley. Bridget Gillan, Nora Pollock, rest in peace, Catherine Sheehan, who returned to Ireland, and Beatrice Fallon. Delia Cahill, Gina Taylor, and myself, Barbara Taylor. And neighbours, Joan Cullen and Sylvia Bonney. So that was our very first cast. And of that experience, Pat Hunt, in his words, says, "We were ready on opening night, but nothing could have prepared us for what awaited us. Our actors pulled it off, but under the most trying circumstances imaginable. Visitors to Shannon were obviously not all lovers of the arts. Some actually objected to the restrictions called for when the curtain went up. People walked around and talked, and kids ran around and shouted, and some of them, as many of the cast will remember, even tried to climb onto the stage. At times it was very difficult to gain a hearing of our Kathleen Ní Houliháin. She fared much better in Killala. What a baptism of fire for our troupe. of beginners. More experienced players would have refused to go on. How they found such stubborn determination not to be beaten by the conditions, I will never know. They played their hearts out, and miraculously, after a few performances, had begun to win the hearts of their audience. By the end of the first week, we began to experience audience participation, loud cheers of appreciation and encouragement, interrupted sequences, but the players learned to react like pros, timing their lines effectively and really handling the sometimes very difficult house. Jerry, Kenny and I suffered apprehension and dread during those early performances. We knew we were facing failure but wouldn't admit it to each other, and we suffered in silence, focusing all our efforts on encouraging the players. But slowly and surely, Kathleen began to take over. At first we could hardly believe, but soon we were exchanging knowing looks suggesting that this was what we had expected all along. Not only were we relieved, we were more than pleasantly surprised. In fact, we were elated, and with good cause. Kathleen Ní Houliháin does it again. What a few days before had promised to be a disaster was turned around by the players. They turned it into a triumph. They won the attention and admiration of the audience, who began to come back for second hearings and began to demand silence for the lovely lines. Jerry Kenny's courage was well and truly vindicated. That last night of our lovely Kathleen Ní Houliháin was a peak experience in the lives of all of us who were involved. We laughed and we cried, we kissed and we hugged, and we savoured the heady joy of achievement and success. We felt that the creative moment, Jerry's dream, had become a reality, and the group who had met with him on March 18, 1975, had become the Toronto Irish Players. No wonder that when we meet today, Jerry and I feel gratified and proud that we were in at the beginnings in March of 1975. So we'd like to thank, on behalf of the Toronto Irish Players, I would like to thank the Irish Person of the Year Committee and the Ireland-Canada Chamber of Commerce for this honour, and of course to thank all of you for coming out to celebrate with us. We are delighted to have this opportunity to sit among you and celebrate our 30 years of Irish theatre in Toronto. And lovely to see so many members of TIP, past and present, join us today, and particularly wonderful to have those founding members of TIP here with us to toast all we have achieved from our initial venture in Neil MacNeill Auditorium. Like all groups, we have experienced together the highs and lows of life, and it is with appreciation and respect we pay tribute to those who are no longer with us. We have a memorial wall in our hearts filled with people who we love and contributed greatly along our way. This winter has been particularly hard for TIP, as we bid farewell to member Siobhan Coogan in November. Siobhan died of ovarian cancer at the age of 46. We lost our great friend and supporter Eamon O'Loughlin, who needs no introduction to all of us here. He was a member of TIP, and I actually played his mother in Big Maggie. On February 20th, we suddenly and tragically lost a newer member of TIP. Ian Gavin had become a member of TIP for the last few years, and many of you will remember him for his wonderful performance and portrayal of Dolty Dan Dolty in our fall production of Translations. Rest in peace, dear friend, and we are so glad we had the opportunity to share a part of your journey. This tribute has given us a chance to take a trip down memory lane, and what a packed excursion it has been. It's hard to calculate the number of hours that have been contributed, mounting over 80 productions. Family life takes some hard knocks when the play becomes the thing, and most of us all have full-time careers. People end up doing a lot of juggling, and it's not only the person working on the play that makes the sacrifice, it is their families too. I would like to thank, on behalf of the players, all those who have had to take on the extra responsibilities when your loved ones have joined the ranks of life as a thespian, whether it is building sets, doing costumes, sound or lighting, stage management, directing, producing, publicity, acting on stage or fundraising. The actors, directors and stage managers spend 2 months in rehearsal 3 times a week, and the actors another couple of evenings learning their lines. While in the background, a huge production takes place as sets are built and realised, and all design elements are worked on, and the drive to fill those seats is also on. A lot has happened before the lights come up on a production on opening night. The opening night reception, front of house, a coffee shop, all geared up to make a great experience for you, our audience, when you come to see us. As president of TIP, I want to thank you all for your commitment and continued hard work. Today is the time for you all to take a bow, so please, Toronto Irish players, stand up. You're all here, take a bow. I am very reluctant to mention names for fear of ever leaving anyone out and have anyone feel that their contribution has been minimized. However, I would really like these people to take a stand. Our dedicated set builders and set realization crew. Please, Kevin O'Shea, Sean O'Neill, Sean Tracy, Alan Hunt, and our in-house, fabulously talented set realization, Bernie Hunt. We have told so many stories over the years, and we've shared wonderful language of so many authors, as Rory spoke about. In our first production, Kathleen Ní Húlaháin, one of the poetic lines, she is an old woman with the walk of a queen. The tales have been many: a drowned son, a drowned daughter, love, hate, family dysfunction. A son killing his dad, a daughter killing her ma, the shenanigans with love stories played out in tenement houses, poverty, wars, factory workers, chaos at a motel, family dysfunction. Brothers hating brothers, sisters battling sisters, story from an institution, rebels, lovers, winners, losers, drama in the shop, the story of the grocer's assistant, immigration, returned Yanks, leaving home, fond farewells, movie making on an island, story from jail, volunteers, waiting for Godot, Old Mother Hubbard in the wrong fairy tale and Cinderella the pantomime, Ali Baba with its handsome balladeer, family dysfunction. Mad dads, mean mas, courtroom dramas, the hostage in a brothel, stolen language, Marconi the radio, dancing sisters, lost love, family dysfunction. Letters to a parish priest, flirting widows, sharing the ashes, tipping cows, talking to stones, cheating husbands, strange wives, family dysfunction. Ghost stories, mummers, a house full of priests, a clever housekeeper, a man visits a therapist, more ghosts, the church becomes a theatre, hunting for Red Willie, family dysfunction. Skulls in graveyards, murdered wives, son returns, brothers battle over the death of Das, smashing statues, stoves blow up, and family dysfunction. It would seem useless, it would seem, unless we are our imperfect, dysfunctional selves, we would not be worth writing about. I will end with a take on a line from the production of Midden, which we closed last night. And it is a take, I've changed it just slightly. We have a lot of people on down our line to thank for our achievements, ones that worked hard and paved our way. We thank everyone who has shared in these last 38 years, and we look forward to promoting the art of Irish theatre here in Toronto for many, many more years to come. Thank you all so much.
After that, the next time we see a Toronto Irish Fair production, we will sit and think and realise what really went on making this production for us. So thank you. Now I ask Katie to present the trophy to Barbara Taylor. Thank you.